So it's been another week. We've launched a really amazing product called Digital Doubles. So type a DD in the chat if you're excited about digital doubles and data mining. Type a DD in the chat if you're excited about digital doubles and data mining. Okay. Guys, I can't see your chat. Can you hear me? I can't even tell if you can hear me or if you can't hear me. Welcome Phil, welcome Mimi, welcome Janice, welcome Ishmael, welcome Fusi. Is it Fusi or is it Eustace? Or Eustace? Guys, I can't see anything in the chat. I would love to see some feedback in the chat, please. Someone type something. Okay, Ishmael can hear me, Mimi can hear me, Janice can hear me. Phil says hi. Hello, Phil. Thank you very much for your responses. Okay, guys, look, who's heard about the digital doubles and the data mining? Who's heard about digital doubles and data mining? Type a DD or a DM if you've heard about it, and type a Y if you've actually purchased it yourself. Okay, and Mimi, have you actually purchased it as well? Okay, excellent, excellent. So we've got some people that actually have it, and I know that the performance of mine is like doing pretty well. I made 9 new friends yesterday, which is awesome. Okay, in fact, actually type in the chat how many friends, type the number of friends that you've had because of the data mining thing in the chat. So I'm a 9. How many new friends have you made because of the data mining? Already 50? That's amazing. That's actually really amazing. Mimi's in the lead. Let's see who's going to win. Gail's got 20. How have you already got 20? Why have I only got 9? That's not fair. Had conversations though, but okay, anyone else? Is there anyone else? Not enrolled yet, but do you know what, Janice, are you inspired to enroll given the numbers that are coming in, right? Admiro Musa, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. If you've got digital doubles or data mining in the chat, type a number for the amount of new friends you've just made in LinkedIn. That'd be really awesome. And welcome, welcome. I think I'm seeing some new names here. So, right, what time is it? It is. Okay, we've got a few minutes. You know what? Because you guys have all arrived on time, I'm going to make a start. So, right, let's start this. And in fact, actually, I'm going to take my watch off because I want to keep to time. So, what we're going to do is, right, okay, so is it really only Mimi and Janet? Well, Janice hasn't enrolled yet, so is it only Mimi out of all of you, and Gail and myself and Jacqueline probably, is it only us that have the data mining, the thing? Is there no one else that has data mining? Type in N if you don't have the data mining yet. Because it's just good to know, because the numbers that you're seeing on screen at the moment are the numbers of new contacts, business contacts that people have made, okay? Mimi's made 50 already, which is just phenomenal. I've only made 9. Oh, guys, come on, we need more feedback. You were doing so well. You were doing so well. Come on, let's have some more feedback. Okay, so am I not clear? Am I not being clear? Do you not understand? Type a 1 if you understand me. Type a 0 if you don't understand me. Okay, so type a 1 if you understand me. Okay, Janice understands me. Thank you, Janice. And it's nice to see you. Have you even enrolled in the Academy of the Private Investor yet? Type a 1 if you have, or type a 0 if you haven't. And welcome Olushola Fasugbe. Nice to see you. Lots and lots of new people. Okay, look, you know what? Let's just get on with the presentation then. So, okay, so guys, just be aware that the more energy that you give me, then the more I understand that I'm serving you, okay? Because we want to be of service to you. We want to give you the best presentation, and we want to give you the best information. And if you stick around later, we might even do the 8 rules of the private investor. And given that we have a few new people here, I think it might be good to actually do that. So, okay, Janice, maybe we'll have a chat later. We can like talk about that later. Thank you for letting me know. But are you excited about the thing? Are you excited about the data mining? Okay, so look, let me introduce myself. My name is Mo Rahman. I'm going to be your host for tonight. Okay, so again, like I say, the more energy that you put in and the more you interact with our speakers, then actually, you know what, the more you'll understand and you'll retain of the information that we're giving you, and actually the more it will make sense to you. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. So I am a representative of the UK Local Leadership Council. I am a consultant within this community, and I've even done one of the, well, I've done a couple of the courses. So the Master Profi course is one of the flagship courses that we do, where it teaches you more about the basics of what we teach, the investing, but it also teaches you a little bit about how to build a business. So we're going to tell you a bit more about that, introduce you to that in this presentation. I'm an international speaker, a private investor, and an entrepreneur. I actually graduated in astrophysics in 2000, sorry. And then I've had a 20-year career, mainly as a data analyst within the public sector. Now, in about 2014, that led me to massive depression, but led me to realize also that I will never get rich just from having a job. So, well, it led me to massive depression. Hence, I started learning neuro-linguistic programming. I'm now an NLP master practitioner, a master hypnotist, and a coach as a result. Since 2017, I've been focused on learning how to get wealthy. And hence I found the Academy of the Private Investor and made my first investment with this company. And I'm the author of a book called do I even have a copy of it? I do, called Powered by the Universe. This is my book. So I'm an astrophysics graduate with a love of astrology that's written a book about the law of attraction, okay, as you might expect. So before we go on, let me just do a quick disclaimer. So in the Academy of the Private Investor, we do not sell, nor do we have a license to sell shares or tokens. All countries have their own rules for the sale of financial products, and we comply with the laws of every country, including your own. Most countries do allow for the sale of information products without a special license. Now we sell education information packages, okay? Go back. So we sell education, and that doesn't require a special license. We do offer the opportunity to participate in wealth building training or education, which provides the fundamental principles upon which wealth is created and maintained. Okay, so we teach wealth, that's what we do, and that's what we sell. We do not provide financial or investment consultations. You must do your own due diligence or request confirmation from a licensed accountant or financial advisor in your area for compliance with the requirements in your state or country. Okay, so that's the disclaimer. What you're going to expect tonight is this. So we give these presentations every Tuesday and every Thursday. The first part is the presentation, which is split into 4 parts. And then the second part, we run a basic financial education on Tuesday, or on Thursday, we explain how you can build this business in our multi-level crowd investing system on Thursday at about 8 p.m. Okay, so in this first part, always from about 7 p.m, we teach investment thinking, we teach about the VIP club of the private investor, we talk about the multi-level crowd investing part, and then the new economic evolution of the world. So a few of us, we're going to split it between myself, Gail, and Jacqueline. And actually, I think I'm going to introduce Jacqueline now. So, sorry, not Jacqueline, Gail. So basically, I've known Gail, both Gail and Jacqueline, they're both UK Local Leadership Council members, and we've been assigned to help ourselves and Magda and Blaze, whom you'll meet mostly on Thursdays. We've been delegated to help grow the UK. So if you know about our company, you'll know that we have really huge ambitions. And so we want to grow the UK, and we really want to inspire you to build your teams, particularly within the UK, such that we actually, well, we want to take over the world. So we're going to get 1 billion people in this company. So I met Gail in about December last year. And what I've come to understand about Gail is that she is a real expert within the financial services sector. She used to be a financial advisor. So although I'm not a licensed financial advisor and neither is anyone in the company, Gail actually is. So, you know, her experience is really amazing, and she has been, she's like a real kind of like, she's a president within the company, I think, or a vice president, very, very senior within the company. So she's really done a lot for our company. So please put your hands together and give a whole round of 8s in the chat to welcome Gail, okay? And please do put a whole bunch of 8s in the chat to welcome Gail, and please do interact with her when she asks for interaction, because I promise you, you'll get the most out of it when you do, okay? So I'll see you later when Gail hands back to me. Gail, please take it away.
Hi, thank you very much, Mo, for that introduction. As Mo quite rightly said, my financial services background started 40 years ago. I'm currently not regulated because I've chosen a different way to help people become financially educated. So I'm currently not a regulated broker, but I have gained a lot of experience along the way. You know, I've seen the financial crises previously, as will have a lot of people out there. And, you know, although I loved my job and I loved sat with people, talking to people and thinking that was actually helping them to do something, I did become a little disillusioned with what the traditional financial services world had to offer regarding educating people, because, you know, I would go and sit with people and it became very apparent at that time that there was a real need for financial education. But because of the job that I was in, I was just really giving the advice. It wasn't really educating people, and that was something that's always been a passion of mine. I love my crypto. I'm also, like Mo said, representative of the UK Local Leadership Council, and I'm a qualified clinical hypnotherapist, so don't panic. You know, myself and Mo will not put you all to sleep, or we may do with all the talking. We'll try not to. Yeah, so I like to think of myself as an educator. You know, my journey online started in 2012 because at that time I'd chosen well, it was forced on me a little bit to leave my financial services profession. But at that time, I was looking for a way out that I didn't, like I said, things weren't sitting quite comfortable with me, and I wanted to do something different. My husband became ill, and at that time, you know, I left to be with him, and, you know, fortunately, everything worked out fine on that score. So I wanted to do something else. I wanted to help other people, and started looking for things that I could do online. So like a lot of you, you know, I may have been in different types of opportunities, you know, some good, some not so good, you know. And then a good friend of mine, somebody I'd met online, who was in Australia, who's now a president of the company, actually said to me, he said, look, Gail, he said, I've got something, I really would like you to have a look at it. Now, at that time, I was very busy running off, looking after, you know, looking and trying to find every shiny object out there, you know. So he said to me, look, Gail, really have a look at this. So I did. I sat down, had a look at it. I didn't really do anything with it for 12 months because I was too busy doing other things. Okay. However, he said, he never gave up on me, and he said to me, look, you really need to have a look at what is coming, and, you know, what the future of this company is. So I did have a look. I suddenly realized that everything that I was looking to do was right in front of my eyes. And today, I hope that you're going to learn through our presentation exactly what that was. So if you could just move the slides on, please. Okay. So we've all been through the education system, okay? Put a 1 in the chat if you've gone to university, or you have gone on to higher education. Number 2, if you've just been to the mainstream schooling. And if they have actually taught you anything regarding financial education. Okay, so we've got a few people who've been to university, and at that time when you was in university, put a 3 in the chat if they taught you anything on financial education. No, there's not many 3s coming through, because, oh, sorry, we've got somebody who was taught financial education. Now, that is quite rare to be taught financial education. So the Academy of a Private Investor was something that could actually do that for people, that could give them the education that has been sorely missing, you know, from our world that we live in today. And it was founded in 2011. It's a global online portal. Like I said, it's got massive expertise behind it. We've got more than 1.4 million users from over 175 countries. So we truly are a global academy. We've got teachers with up to 23 years of experience and investment and financial fields. We cover practical studies, and we give people real case studies. We do group lessons, individual coaching and mentoring. Okay, so if you could just move the slides on. And what do we mean when we talk about investment thinking? You know, investment thinking is a way that we can look at things. So Robert Kiyosaki came up with something called a cash flow quadrant. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki before. Okay, yeah, Mohammed. Sorry, Mo, it's Mo that. Yeah, few people, Janice, have heard of Robert Kiyosaki, and he uses something called the cash flow quadrant. So what is the cash flow quadrant, and how does this tie in with us? On the left, you'll see the working tab. Now, the working tab is if you have a job. Okay, so most employees go to work, they earn salary, they get a certain paid holidays, and they get paid sick leave. Some people don't get sick leave, but some people do. So if you've got a good job and you're working 9 to 5, or you might be working night shifts, you'll be earning a salary from that. But you know what? There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that that job is going to be there in the future, and no more so than today with what we're going through with the current global crisis. You know, there's going to be lots of people who unfortunately, you know, won't have a job, and a lot of people have actually lost their jobs. You know, these big firms are struggling. However, you know, it may be that you're an entrepreneur and that you work for yourself, so you're self-employed. Okay, so you own the job. The job doesn't own you. Above, when you're working, the job owns you. So you're your own boss. You've no fixed salary. So if you don't work, you don't earn. If you don't go to work because you're not feeling well, you don't earn. Okay? But the good side is nobody can fire you either. So that's one of the positives as well. And so the more you work, the more you earn. But you do have to find your own clients, so that's a bit of a minus that we're looking at. Anybody here who's self-employed, put a 2 in the chat if you're self-employed. Okay, don't look like we've got anybody who's actually self-employed. Okay, so on the next side, we've got the business owners. So the business owners, they're the ones who own everything. They're the ones who own the companies. So they own the companies that you work for. So the working people, you know, a party to a businessman's business. Okay, they work, people work for them. So the bigger the business, the more that you can earn. But like we said, in this global economy, with everything that's happening at the moment, you know, businesses are struggling. Some are thriving, but some are not. So there is a big responsibility for a businessman to keep people who fall into the employees on the working side, to keep them in a job. Okay, so there's a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. And you know, a lot of businesses are going to go bankrupt or have gone bankrupt, and it does happen quite a lot. And then right at the bottom, we've got the investor. Now, the investor is where money works for you. So they know about money, they learn about money, they're educated, they have multiple income streams, they don't rely on one source of income. So they might own a business and they may be self-employed as well. Okay, so but they can make mistakes. So to be an investor, you really need to know what you're doing, and you need that education to help you along the way. But in reality, 10% of the money is owned by 90% of the people, and 90% of the money is owned by 10% of the people. So it's a real trying to find a balance within that cash flow quadrant that Robert Kiyosaki identified for people. Okay, so if you could just move on. So part of that world of education, we need to know which countries are literate and which are not, because, you know, how can we plan any form of education, financial education, if we don't know the areas that we need to look in? And Standard & Poor's actually did a global financial literacy survey, and it was quite an in-depth survey that they did. And as you can see there, different areas, different parts of the world have different forms of financial literacy. Okay, so in like Canada and the United States, you know, some parts of Europe, the UK, Australia, you know, they have quite a high level of financial literacy, whereas some of the other countries in the world, you know, have a lower standard of financial literacy. And it's something that needs to be put right. So to be able to put that right, you've got to understand where those areas are, and you know what sort of financial literacy that those people are getting. So the survey's goal was to provide that measure of financial literacy around the world, and it gives information to organisations which can then help people around the world as best they can. So, you know, there's different levels of financial literacy, and the more financial literacy, the more wealth is generated within those countries. Okay, and the people who don't have access to financial services in the banking industry tend to be those people who come from the parts of the world where financial literacy is not the main area for people. Okay, so it's important, it's very important today that, you know, we ask ourselves, do we have sufficient financial knowledge to keep and to maintain and protect our hard-earned money? Do we know what we're going to be doing with that money? And it's very, very important that people realize that, you know, this is something that they need to start looking at, especially in this current climate that we're all living in at the moment. Okay, so if we can move on. The good news is we do have a solution for everyone. Okay, so the solution is the education, because it's something that we don't get in schools, and it's very limited. I do know that they're starting to bring it in a little bit more now into the secondary schools, because my grandson actually said to me, you know, what I've been learning what compound interest is, and I've been learning, so that they are starting to bring it in a little bit, but for the that's for the younger generation. But for the people who have perhaps left school, they didn't have that financial education, and we offer the training courses which are aimed at self-development, personal growth. You know, we help people to plan, which helps them when they if they choose to start a business, so it gives them some business education, and it starts to help people to form investment thinking. So how do I go about building up my portfolio? How do I go about making my money work for me? Okay, and you will learn through this education how to do that. Okay, we can move on. So plenty of people who have been a part of the Academy of a Private Investor, and we have people from all over the world. We have people from all walks of life. Okay, we have the education is geared to people from the very start to people who've got more knowledge of the financial world. Okay, so it builds people up gradually, but yet the education is also there for the people who have already got some knowledge of the financial world. I mean, I thought when I came into this, well, I'll know all this, I will know everything there is to know about the financial world and finances. You know, how wrong was I? Because I suddenly realized when I started doing the actual live webinars that, you know, we're privileged to be on, that actually I perhaps didn't know as much as I thought I did. Okay, so the power of this education is it cannot be denied, you know, and these people have come from, like I said, different countries, different walks of life, but we've all got the same thing in common. We're all looking to better ourselves, not just us, but for our families as well. You know, and I personally know quite a few of these people on here. Met them at our event in India in October 2019, and you know, these are real people. You know, I work with a few of these people on here tonight. We've got Mo, who's on here, Jacqueline, Blaze and Magda, who tend to do the Thursday presentations. You know, we're all part of the UK local leadership. We've got Galina. You know, Galina was originally from Latvia, and she now currently lives in Spain, and she is now a Spanish company coordinator, as well as she's become a private investor. And she started off, she worked in London, Dubai, and Spain, and she worked in bars, did bar work, but she learned languages, and she speaks 3 languages, English, Russian, and Spanish. And in 2016, she was introduced to the Academy of the Private Investor. And through this Academy of Private Investor, she actually took a course called the Master Profit course. And she learned and received some reliable tools to increase her capital. and she's constantly studying. Okay, she constantly studies within the academy to improve her knowledge, and she puts into practice what she actually learns as well. Okay, which is, you know, what the Academy of a Private Investor does. It shows people how you can put it in practice to create and maintain your wealth. Okay, thank you. Just move on. So I've done with my part now, and I'd like to introduce back Mo to you. Mo brings a lot of energy to these presentations, so I'd encourage you to, you know, interact with Mo, and I'll hand over now. Mo, you've got your microphone. Yeah, we can't hear you. See, we're just normal, everyday people.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Gail. Thank you very much. And guys, please put a round of 8s in the chat for Gail. Put a round of 8s just as a round of applause for Gail. Remember, again, the more 8s that you do, then, you know, well, the more you interact, then actually the more you will actually retain. Okay. Yeah, I've only put this slide here just because it's a signal for the speakers to pass back to me. So thank you very much for your words, Gail. Don't worry about like introducing me each time you see the slide. But that was really cool. Thank you. Okay, so next we have our next speaker, which is the amazing Jacqueline Burrows. Now, again, I've met Jacqueline since December, since we all started on this journey, and recently I actually learnt what Jacqueline's experience has been, and I think she's had a fairly similar experience to me about having a portfolio kind of career. Put a Y in the chat if you've found yourself throughout your career just you never really felt like you really fit into the thing that you're doing, and you end up doing one thing and then maybe another thing, and maybe another thing, and then maybe another thing. Put a Y in the chat if that's you. Fisi, Fisi, is it Fisi? Is that your first name, or is Eustace your first name? Because it could be either, I think. So I hope that I'm not getting it wrong. Oh, Fisi, it is Fisi. Okay, good. So Jacqueline, yeah, she's qualified as a nurse, as a teacher. She's a reflexologist and a complementary massage therapist, and she is mining crypto. So she is involved in so many different things. She's gone on this journey the same as we've gone on this journey, and she's found herself in the Academy of the Private Investor. So please put it together for the amazing Jacqueline Burrows, and put another round of 8s in the chat for Jacqueline. And Jacqueline, please take it away.
Thank you, Mo, as ever. Thank you for your energy, and thank you for your introduction, and thank you, Gail. Really lovely, and happy to be here tonight and to do my part. And I hope that you are learning and you've got your pens and paper ready, and that we are giving you a really good presentation that will be of value to you. As Mo said, all my stuff is listed there. Represented the UK Leadership Council. It's been a very interesting journey for me. I have been in business myself with family before, and when we look at the cash flow quadrant, as a business person, I know what it's like being on the right when you have a business and people don't show up on the day you need them and you have to step in. I got many calls sometimes, and I thought I'd be having a relaxing Sunday, and then I get the phone call from my mother and saying, oh, they haven't turned up, you need to come in and help. And I'll be thinking, oh, all right then. So sometimes it can be quite onerous if you're a business person and the business does rely on certain quotas and parameters that have to be maintained, otherwise your business is at risk. So I have been through that part. I've been through the role of an entrepreneur when I have my own businesses. It relies on you if you don't get up and take responsibility and get the business won't be out there if you don't go and do it. And an employee as a nurse. I enjoyed my nursing. I enjoyed being at the front and the dynamic part of it. I was in a lot of surgical areas, and it's quite rewarding and fulfilling seeing people come in, heal and go home. That was really rewarding. and teaching. Once again, I've taught a lot of people along the way. Part of my nursing career, mentorship with people, I've had to qualify to do that as well. So my career has been quite varied, and I think it gives you a lot of life skills when you have to bounce and be able to do these sorts of things, and it tests you as a person. So I'm here on still the journey of entrepreneur, private investor, and learning about my discipline and my skills and how I need to apply them. And with everybody, every day you learn, you never stop learning, and you learn things about yourself and how you approach how your approaches to your financial education, your financial freedom. So with that said, I'll move on to the next slide, Mo. So VIP. Now, VIP, they don't call it VIP, very important person, for nothing. Not that you have to be a very important person to be a VIP, but you feel like a very important person, I think, when you're a VIP. So just put in the chat, V, if you have ever felt what it's like to be a VIP. Who's had the experience of being in a VIP situation, whether it's in the airport lounge or at a club or anything like that? And doesn't it feel good when you get all those privileges and benefits? Makes you feel special, makes you feel like, oh, this is different. And yeah, thank you. It's great. And when you've had that kind of experience, I love it. I like more. I love it when I go in the airport and I'm looking for the lounge. Not that I get much time to sit in the lounge, because normally your flight gets called not long after. It's just the thought of having a lovely, comfortable chair. You can pick the food what you want, and see TV screens. It just relaxes you before the flight. So it's all these benefits and perks that make you feel privileged and important. So for the people in our organization that have been loyal partners of the company, who understand and share our philosophy, actively participate in trainings and company events, and regularly use programs, want to self-develop, want to be educated, improve your professionalism, as a self-development, they've come up with the VIP Club. Now, the VIP Club for Private Investor, a lot of VIP clubs, some of them range from, say, 2,500 a year to even 50,000 or more, for the privilege of being in the VIP, because they want to create that niche of being special and specialist. So that's why they sometimes have this underlying price curve, which means you have to attain that price to get in there, and mixing with people of like-mindedness who can afford these type of memberships. But we still value you as our members and our partners. So you can get into our VIP club for as little as $10, and you still are made to feel special. You're not treated any less than anybody else who's at the president level or the vice president or the top manager level. So we are inclusive, and we want you to enjoy what it's like to be a VIP. And obviously you can rank up within that organization, but it's to get you involved and to thank you for your loyalty. So our VIP club, what do we do for our VIP club of private investor? We're an elite club. We have discounts on the products up to 75%, which we'll talk about later on. And we'll talk about more about this VIP club. We have exclusive offers, which we'll talk about later. Access to the CryptoUnit program and its bonuses. Once again, remember, we'll touch on the CryptoUnit, remember that. So we'll talk about that later. Additional income streams. Income streams, not income stream. Notice it's plural for a reason, because today it's really essential that we don't just rely on one income stream. We can see what's happening around the world. Even Gail showed us the map of the world. Less than 50% have financial literacy. So can you imagine, do they have more than one income stream? So you need to be able to weather the storm, be able to have one thing working here, another thing working there. So if anything happens in one area, you can still maintain your standard of living. You can still carry on with your life because you have multiple income streams. And that's what we stress on in our organization. And participation in closed monthly meetings. And that's important, the closed monthly meetings, because being a VIP, part of the benefit is that you get to see from our CEO, Andre Havrato, what we're actually doing, the contracts we're actually negotiating with, where the company's going, the direction. These are things that many people who belong in other investment arenas don't get the privilege of seeing or participating in, just because you're in that investment area. you may have to pay a special premium, for instance, like Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett. Who's heard of Warren Buffett? I am sure you avid investors have heard of Warren Buffett. Just put a Y for me. Great, Warren Buffett, yep. Great, those who, and if you don't know Warren Buffett, Google him and see what he does. He's one of the world's top investor. And if you want to join his investment club, you have to pay over $300,000 for one share. And that's just to even be part of that meeting. So I think we're doing an amazing deal here with what we offer and how we treat our VIPs and our elite club. Thank you, Mo. Next slide. So as I was talking about the type of products that we do, so we have our investment education packages called EIPs, Education Investment Product, Education Information Product. And as you can see on the left, I won't go through all of them, but just to give you an idea, we do things like Foundations of Investing, the 8 Rules of a Private Investor. And that might seem 8 rules of a private investor, but that's key and underpins and is your foundation for understanding what you need to do as a private investor. So that comes to the top, it's very important. For instance, capitalization. Gail was just talking about her grandson is learning about compound interest, the 8th wonder of the world. And I'm so happy to hear that it is starting to trickle into the schools, because I can tell you, as Gail asked to find out who has it in their school, and I think one person gave a number 3, very, very rarely will you find that people are aware of this, this amazing wonder of the world, where you can turn $1 into 1 million. So if we had been taught that at school, I'm sure a lot of us would have been in a different place now, rather than wondering how we're going to survive from week to week and jobs being lost. And so if you look down, we have many other courses there: pension plans, alternative pension accumulation, and first steps to private investing. And on the right, we have the different types of packages which will incorporate these titles, whether you're a beginner or a basic, and so on, so forth. So when you come to that part, you can look and see which EIP you would like to take and which one would suit you. But Mo will cover that later on down the line. Thank you, Mo. So educational information products, EIP. So just to give you an idea about VIP discounts and privileges and what we do for you. For instance, the beginner, it would have normally cost $200 if you're not in the VIP. We do it for $50. And I've got units there. Units are the same as dollars, but we use the word units, but it is translated as dollars as well. So 50 units there. The basic, which would have cost $250 now, and what would have cost you $1,000 would previously be $2,225. So as you go along, you can see the amazing discounts that are offered as a VIP. Now, we also, within these packages, because everybody's got a different budget and they need to manage their finances, we even offer installments on these products. So when you go and you can decide what type of installment would suit you, if you wish to have an installment or if you wish to pay it off. And also, which is amazing in addition, we also offer this crew bonus with each purchase. And we talk about the crew, etc. when we go along, but the crew bonus goes along with each purchase, and that's a thank you, because the education information is what is really key. But as a bonus and to start you on your way to show that what we say is what we do, we will give you crew bonus as well. Thank you very much, Mo. So this is, I mentioned to you about the CryptoUnit project before, a training program that opens the door to anyone to learn and become a co-owner. So we are co-owners in our investment organization. This is what we want everybody to have and to be a part of, not just a shareholder or just somebody who is in an organization where the top people are owning it and then you are just trying to make money, and Mo will cover that later on. So the CryptoUnit. Mo, if you could just go back for me. So this is our roadmap for the CryptoUnit. So we launched in 30th of March 2019, the start of our CryptoUnit program, and that was a roaring success. It just went off the charts within 72 hours. All the CryptoUnit that we launched in that stage was gone. We had to bring the stage 2 forward to counteract the fact that it was just so amazingly successful. So that was a credit to the organization, all the people who were in it who believed in the vision. So the 1st of May, we transitioned to stage 3. On the 8th of May, and I'm just going to go through some of the landmarks which are really poignant to what we have. The 8th of May, we had the accrual of the first loyalty bonus, and we have that every single month since then, which is amazing. Which organization, you know, will give you loyalty bonuses every single month? And that's a thank you once again to our CEO. So as we've gone along now, we have accrued our first profit bonus on the 13th of November 2019, which is our bonuses from the profit that we have in our global portfolio, which we will talk about again, which we are co-owners of. We transitioned in January to part 2 of our development. And then the 15th of January this year, we entered the Ethereum blockchain. Now, Ethereum was already in progress, but why we went on the Ethereum blockchain is so that everybody could actually see, and we could be transparent as to how our crypto unit was working, so everyone could see that it was real. There were real people, there were real contracts, and this is the precursor to us developing our own exchange and launching our own blockchain. So this is why we went on this blockchain at this time. So on the 9th of March, our internal exchange was launched, and the 1st of May, we transitioned to stage 2 of part 2. And on the 31st of July, we go from stage 2 to part 3. So we are moving along quite nicely along our roadmap. And as we move along to each stage, our discounts on what we offer as bonuses for our EIPs get greatly reduced. So you need to act now to make sure you get the best possible deals before they get reduced again before the 31st of July. And then we'll be making our way to forming our own exchange by September, hopefully September, October. We're looking at that sort of roadmap. So even more exciting news coming along. Thank you, Mo. So when I told you just before, remember I said about a global portfolio. This is what I was referring to. We have a global portfolio which was started in 2014 for us by Andre, and he invested the profits into this is over 20 sectors of the investment market. We have 20 here, but we're in over 20. So we cover areas like education, which is obviously very important to us, multi-level crowd investment development, health and longevity, innovative transport sector, stock markets, cryptocurrency markets, real estate, science sector, culture sector, precious and semi-precious metals and stones, and space development. So these are some of the areas, and there are many more that we have in our global portfolio. So as I said, we have many areas. So let's look at some of what we are really excited about. So on the left here, we have Japanese cuisine called Sushi Master. We have our franchiser Sushi Master doing very well. So we have some of the restaurants open now. We are looking forward to expanding to many, many more over the coming years. So all those who, can you imagine just going into a restaurant and having the meal and then knowing you've paid for the meal, but you're actually going to benefit some dividends because you are a co-owner in Sushi Master restaurants. So how exciting is that? So look out for when it's coming in a place near you. We have them in Spain and various places. So in Kazakhstan and parts of Russia, and we are moving gradually around the planet. So one will pop up by you. Gold mining. Now, gold has really increased our portfolio. As you can see up there, Global Crypto Unit Program worth 404 million. It has now actually gone up to 460 million. And this was a 404 just a couple months ago. So we've gone up to 460 and we're increasing all the time. And a lot of this at the moment is due to our gold. Gold is on the rise and we have co-ownerships in the gold industry. So we are going to be doing our gold mining. We have it in Ghana, in Tanzania, in the Ural Mountains in Russia. So we are co-owners of these operations and our value has now gone up quite a bit with that. So that's really exciting. Don't you agree? Imagine being a co-owner and to say I'm a co-owner in gold mining. It's when I say to people, their eyebrows just lift. They can't actually comprehend what I'm talking about. So this is really amazing. Then on the right here, we have the film industry. We are co-owners of the film industry as well. KG Club Productions, we are looking to launch on the Chinese market and the Indian market superhero films towards the end of this year, early next year. So you'll be going to the cinema, watching the film, having your popcorn, you've had your ticket, paid for your ticket, and having the wonderful feeling that you are a co-owner, and all the tickets sold, you'll be getting dividends paid back on that. How amazing is that? I've been to see quite a few films. I haven't been to as many as I'd like to go, because sometimes you can't get to the cinema if you want to. But when you do go and you sit there and I really enjoy the film, imagine I'm going to get dividends back on that. So I think that's just brilliant, because I love the cinema. And then finally, least but not last, we have innovative basalt technology. Basalt, I don't know how many of you might know about basalt, but basalt is, I think, the next amazing thing that's going to be hitting the market. So we have all these issues with plastic and the pollution. Well, basalt is a volcanic rock which can be found anywhere where there's volcanoes. So you could have old volcanoes under the sea, all around the planet. We have the patent for the technology to develop this type of basalt that can be used in buildings, different infrastructure, in space, and by developing the fiber for these plastic bottles that we have here. It will take the place of this. It can be so amazing. It can be flexible to take the place of this plastic bottle, but yet at the same time it can be stronger than steel. Can you imagine the scope of what can be achieved with this? And there is a building in Romania, the former ruler Ceausescu, his palace is actually constructed of basalt. It's absolutely huge, so you can Google that and look at basalt. But the wonderful thing about it, it's because it's natural, it's going to be eco-friendly, and so we won't be damaging the planet or creating any kind of pollution in order to produce it. So that'd be great. Thank you, Mo. So what does the CryptoUnit program provide? Co-ownership of the Crew Global Portfolio, which I just talked about, monthly loyal program bonus, the opportunity to receive Profit bonus, regulated and transparent financing, crew value growth due to increase in assets. And this is why it is so valuable, because these assets are backing our crew. So imagine the gold, how it's gone up in price already when the basalt goes up, and then the film production and all the sushi master restaurants and other things that we have in the portfolio. So our crew is backed by this, and this is why things are going up in value. And possibility of circulation of the crew in global merchandising. Thank you, Mo. So what would be the first step? Here's your step-by-step guide. So step 1, make the free registration. So it is as it is. Registering is free. So you just make your registration, talk to the person who brought you along here, and then register. And step 2, become a member of the VIP club and receive bonuses. That would be absolutely wonderful. So we welcome you. We'd love you to become a member of the VIP club and receive all the bonuses I've talked about. Step 3, choose the right education information product that suits you. And step 4, take action and go for it. And by taking action, mean actually get involved, actually start to follow the plans or what your EIP is, and actually look at them, listen to the lessons that you've acquired, and actually see how much of a difference it makes in your life. Thank you, Mo.
Okay, excellent. Everyone, please will you put your hands together in the form of a round of 8s for Jacqueline, if you learned something, and if you understand what you're going to do, what the next action is for you. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And actually, while we're on it, since we've got more of a full house now, type N if you are new here, or type A if you are already in our community. So type in N if you are new and you have yet to join. Okay, is it admire or is it admire? If actually you can't even tell me anyway. But welcome. So I hope you're inspired to join. But look, let me tell you about how you can earn by learning right now. Okay, so our business is really cool because we combine 2 types of things. We actually created our own model called Multilevel Crowdinvesting. So type MLM if you've heard of multi-level marketing, and type crowd investing, well, CI, if you've heard of crowd investing, and type MLCI if you know about both, multi-level crowd investing. So MLCI, type that in the chat. So while you're doing that, I'll just explain. So the multi-level business basically allows for you to, there's always accessible training. It's a business that you can run from your own home, and you can be your own director, your own employee. And well, basically you can own your own business. Remember the cash flow quadrant. You can do it online, unlimited revenue, and you can have an international business from your own home. Okay, Motley, I have no idea what that means. It is, yeah, you can realize your dreams really quickly. And actually, if you stick around within our community, and especially if you come on a Thursday at 8 p.m, you can see how you can replace your income. We'll show you a model where you can replace your income within, like, 3 months if you really, really wanted to. So you could earn millions within like 5 years. Okay. Now, the other part of our business, obviously, is the investing side. So remember, we are primarily an education company, and we teach investing, investment consulting training. Okay. We teach about investment instruments, and we even give you the chance to co-own investment instruments with our crew. Okay. Hi, Richard. Nice to see you. So yeah, we provide you with the opportunity to increase your capital really quickly, and we even manage the asset that is actually our portfolio, and that's super transparent. You get to see it, especially if you're in the VIP. You get to come to the closed club. Type VIP if you like the idea of being a VIP. Okay, type VIP. But we don't have much time left, so I'm going to keep going. Again, you have the opportunity to create your own asset portfolio. Within 24 to 16 months, you can create your own $1 million portfolio. Okay, and investing is prestigious, of course. Okay, so look, here are some of our results so far. So since 2014, we actually have about 1.3 million people right now, maybe 1.4 million. I think we touched over that. That was reported just earlier this month. And we have plans to expand to 1 billion. So we're gonna get to, we're aiming to get to 10 million by September, well, certainly by the time we go to launch our crypto unit on exchange. We are running in over 175 different countries, and we have so many presidents within our company. Just understand that since 2014, we have 71 people that have reached the highest rank in our company. Most of our meetings are translated into at least 11 languages. And we've already handed out $97 million in bonuses. When it says unit, you can read dollars, okay? And yes, we have 1.4 million registrations in these 5 years, okay? So stories of success. There are so many stories of success, and I'm just going to read to you one of them. So this is someone who is, I think she's on the presidential council, but she's certainly on the leadership council, and it's our very own Annette Martinson. She's originally from Latvia, and she lives in the UK. She used to be a sales manager in a big corporate sales company, but one day she got fired. And at the same moment, she became a student of the academy. So she realized the power of the information that she received and the education, and decided to become an active partner and to share it with the entire world. And today, she's a member of the Leadership Council. She's a certified coach, an international speaker, and a super confident young woman, I have to say. And she has built a global business while working from home. Now, she came from nothing, and she was sharing with me in January that it is very rare for her not to have 10K months, okay? So just imagine that, okay? Coming from, like, you know, Latvia, you know, and just within a few years. So She has built her global business while working from home and achieved her financial independence just in 4 years' time. Okay, so look what can happen within 4 years. Come back on Thursday at about 8 p.m. We'll teach you a model for how you can replace your income within about 3 months if you worked for it. Of course, you have to work for it. Nothing comes without work. Okay, but it is something that you can do, and we are all working for it. So the advantages of the MLCI business: it's a business from home. You can be your own boss. You can start your own international business from scratch. Unlimited earnings potential, and you can make money from multiple income streams. Within this business, I have like about four different income streams, I think. It's, as much as it sounds like it's just another adaptation of a whole bunch of different things, it is actually still, it does class as a unique business model. There are other businesses that crowd invest. There are other businesses that use the multi-level model, but they don't do multi-level crowd investing the way that we do it. Okay, and you can benefit from massive leverage across the entire network. So again, this is what you do. First step: register. Go back to the person that sent you to this meeting and get their registration link. Get yourself verified. As Jacqueline said, on the 31st of July, things become a little less awesome as they are now. They will still be awesome, but you want to be verified in time that you can actually make your purchase by the 31st of July. So don't wait until then. Get registered now. It's free, and get yourself verified now. Again, it's free and it's easy. So participate and implement. That's all you got to do. 4-step process. So I'm now going to hand you back to Gail, but just to say, until the 31st of July, you get 300 CRE points just for becoming a member of the VIP club. Okay, so you get that for free without even paying any money. So type VIP, type free, type 300, type whatever you want, go crazy if you think that that's awesome. 300 of our CRE points, and understand they pay a monthly dividend, okay, a monthly profit bonus, which could actually replace a working income at some point. Okay, it's exciting. Get yourself registered, do it for free. Okay, go crazy. Nice, thank you. So I'm going to hand you back to Gail, and she's going to complete the final part of the presentation, and then she'll pass back to me, and we'll go into the 8 rules of the private investor. Okay, so Gail.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Mo. You want to put the next slide on? So we've heard what Mo was chatting about, what Jacqueline was talking about, what I spoke about. So let's just sort of recap what all that is. So primarily, we are a financial education company providing education, showing people how they can become private investors and co-owners. You know, in this world that we live in, it's very rare that you can become a co-owner of a company, you know, for a very small amount up to a very large amount. You know, if you want to be a co-owner in something, it normally costs thousands of pounds, dollars. Okay, with us, we're giving people the opportunity through the education to have be gifted the crew, which are backed by our global portfolio. So we are helping you start off on your journey to become co-owners. Okay, and that is what we are all about. And we're also about distributing the wealth and making sure that that wealth is distributed fairly. Okay, we give people the security and protection that we're looking for, and we start to help others, you know, because by helping others, you know, you can also help yourself. You know, if you start thinking more of how you can help other people, it will come back to you tenfold. Okay, and because we're educating people financially, because they are now becoming co-owners, we're also creating prosperity, and with that comes happiness. You know, okay, money doesn't buy happiness or buy health, but it certainly helps when in this current climate, when there's people out there who are hurting, and I can't see it getting any better, certainly for the next few years anyway. Okay, I hope I'm wrong, but I know that the people who are engaging and learning and educating themselves and are sort of getting involved in this company will be able to realize their dreams. Okay, thank you. So we're based on 3 pillars. Like I said, we've spoke about the education and we've spoke about the co-ownership. So the education helps us to learn how we can become co-owners. In fact, it gifts us those crew into the global portfolio, so we then become the co-owners. And at the same time, what cements all this together is we can actually have a business from this, and we can earn and create a business from what we're doing here. So we're not just an education company, we're not just about co-ownership, we're not just about having a business and earning an income. You know, everything knits together and forms what NEW are. You know, it's a new way. The new economic evolution of the world is a concept, and it's a new way of looking at how people can be financially educated. And when we was chatting before, we looked at the Standard & Poor's survey, you know, and we highlighted how there's a lot of countries out there who do not get the opportunity to become financially educated. And the aim of NEW is to ensure that the countries that are currently not educated can participate in this for not very much and can become educated and also can build some kind of wealth for their families. Okay, thanks, Mo. So who are we all? Okay, well, first of all, we've got our CEO, Andre Haratov. He is the gentleman who's brought us the Academy of the Private Investor. He is the gentleman who started off our global portfolio in 2014 with $26,000 that is now worth in excess of 460 million. Okay, the education that he brought to the table enabled him and his students to build this global portfolio. Okay, so we have somebody who is already an established business person. You know, he's been he's very into finance. He has worked in the MLM industry in the past. You know, he's a multimillionaire in his own right. Okay, before NEW came along, he was already a very, very wealthy man. Not only was he wealthy with money, but he was wealthy in the fact that of the education that he's given to everybody. And believe me, as an ex-financial advisor, I know that the education that people are receiving is really going to help them on their journey. You know, we've got lots of people that we could speak about. Again, Mila, she's chairperson of the Presidential Council. And all these people started off somewhere, okay? They were normal, everyday people, just like you may be looking and sat here today. They did the same thing. They sat, they looked at something, they looked at an opportunity to make things better, and that is exactly where they are, and they're actually now at the very top of the company. Okay, thank you. So as Mo said and Jacqueline have said, what is going to be your decision? Are you going to leave everything as it is, you know, and stay exactly the same? That's fine. Or are you actually going to say, do you know what? Now is the time for me to become financially educated and learn about investing and what investments are out there. And you're also going to take that decision to make multiple sources of passive income, because let's face it, you know, look at what's happening today. If you've only got one source of income, you may be self-employed, you might be a business owner, you may be an employee, but if you've only got that one source of income, when that income suddenly disappears, that's it. But if you've got multiple streams of income that are coming in and helping you create that wealth, you're going to be in a much better place, and you're going to be part of a like-minded community. Are you going to decide to join this like-minded community? People who want to make and better their lives, not just for themselves but for the family, and you're able to create assets and leave a legacy, and that's really, really important these days. You know, people want to leave a legacy for their families, for the children, their children's children. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to pass back now to Mo, and I will see you again soon. Thank you. You're muted again, Mo. He doesn't want to speak to us.
Wow, okay, sorry. Thank you. Right, so guys, please, again, put a round of 8s in the chat for Gail and Jacqueline and for the speakers tonight. So put a round of 8s in the chat, and I hope that you have, you've enjoyed the presentation tonight. We are trying to get quicker. We are coming up with a questionnaire because we do really want to get feedback from you about how we can serve you better, because we certainly do. And in fact, actually, do you know what? If you would like to, if you stick around, and please do type suggestions in the chat. I know it's not anonymous, but we're perfectly happy for you to type suggestions in the chat for how we can serve you. And Jacqueline or Gail, if you can just like pay attention to the chat and just note down the types of things that people are kind of suggesting, that would be awesome. So you can do that at any point, guys, okay? But right now, what we are going to do, I think because there's a few new faces, we're going to do the free training, okay? So who likes a free training? Type a 1 in the chat if you like a free training, okay? And I'm just going to stop sharing while I switch to my other slide deck. And I'm just going to prepare the other slide deck, actually, just start the slideshow and then I can share it. So type a 1 in the chat if you like free trainings, because this is going to show you just the types of things that we actually teach. Remember, we are primarily an education company, and we teach the sort of education that's actually going to make you rich, okay? Unlike, as Gail was alluding to, the type of education you actually get in school, okay? So free training coming up right now. So share screen, come on, man, let's do this. Oh, am I sharing my screen? No, I'm not, okay. And now I'm sharing my screen, awesome. Okay, so please type a Y in the chat if you can see my slides. Type a Y in the chat if you can see that it says Investment Basic Training, May 2020. Okay, cool, some Y's coming in, so that means that you can. Okay, and again, just put an A in the chat if you can hear what I'm saying. So put an A in the chat. Okay, well, that was a Y. Okay, an A, yeah, okay, cool. So the audio is fine, great. So I'll just get on with this. So I'm going to tell you about the 8 rules of the private investor. I'm going to tell you about financial plans, capitalization secrets, what you need to do next in order to live your dream life within the next 3 months, and your actions and next steps. Okay, so why do we need financial literacy? Remember that Gail was talking about financial literacy earlier. Well, so we need financial literacy because you really don't learn how to make money in school. You barely learn how to save. Sure, they might be introducing compound interest right now in school, but do you really think that they're going to teach you how to get rich? and teach your kids how to get rich? Type a Y in the chat if yes, type an N in the chat if no. Do you think they're teaching your kids how to get rich? Y for yes, N for no. No, exactly. I mean, of course they are. So that's what we're here for, okay? That's what we're here for. So the question is not how much you earn. The question is, do you have sufficient financial knowledge to save and multiply your hard-earned money, right? And the answer is actually, no, you don't, okay? So what does your financial portfolio look like? Most people, if you're like me when I had a job, then you probably just made you made money in your job and you had a salary. You were probably lucky enough to be earning enough to pay into a pension. And then that's it. You know, hope that when you retire, your pension actually is going to come and save you. Type a P in the chat, a P for poor and middle class portfolio, if that's you right now. Type a P in the chat if that's you right now, or if you can relate to that. Basically, you've been through most of your life where it's like you got paid, you put it into a salary, maybe some savings, but that's basically all you ever did with your money, okay? Type a P in the chat if that's you. Really? You're all investors? No way. Well, I'll tell you what, you might be. Who knows? So look, contrast this with the right-hand side, the rich class portfolio, okay? On the right-hand side, rich people, they don't just have a salary. Their salary is just a tiny little part of where they're making money. They have pensions, they have properties, they might have like, well, they'll have investments. Maybe they'll have like gold, crypto, funds, securities, stocks, shares, all this kind of stuff. They're constantly educating themselves and they have insurance. They might have life insurance. This is what the wealthy do. Type a W in the chat if that's you or if that's what you want to be. Okay. So guys, put a P in the chat if you have a poor middle class type portfolio, or put a W in the chat if you have a wealthy person portfolio. Maybe that's a complicated question. But look, do you know what? I think that you want to be on the right-hand side, okay? Okay, Victor, thank you. And do you want to be on the right-hand side? Put a W in the chat if you want to be in the right-hand side, okay? You want to be rich. You want to be wealthy. You want to be secure. You want to know that if the government makes your job obsolete because they do the lockdown and then your business, your job can't keep you employed, you want to have other income. That's right, isn't it? So think about that, guys. I know that I want to have other income, okay? So this is what we teach, okay? The backbone of everything that we teach is this 8 rules of the private investor. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about many of the rules. We won't talk too much about each of them, but just the first few. But anyway, first of all, you want to understand the terminology. The second rule is follow the 5 commandments, and more about that coming up. Third rule is have a financial plan. Fourth rule is to diversify. Number 5 is maintain discipline. Number 6, don't be greedy and don't be lazy. Number 7, always learn about investing. And number 8, always learn to increase your income. If you follow these 8 rules of the private investor, then you will have success in building your portfolio. Type a Y in the chat if you're excited about that, to build your own portfolio. Put a Y in the chat. Go crazy in the chat if you want to be rich and have your own portfolio income. Go crazy. Awesome. Thank you. More craziness. Come on. I mean, like, dudes, this is the route to your financial freedom. Okay. No joke. It starts here, and we teach you how to start here. And even better than that, if you watched the presentation earlier, man, you've just learned how we actually have built our own portfolio that follows these rules, proves that it works, and actually it's gonna make us all rich, okay, if you're a shareholder. So just to be aware of that, you might want to get hold of you might want to acquire some of our crew if you can, and you should have understood how to do that in the last presentation. Okay, so rule number 1, understand the terminology of investing. Okay, so first of all, there is a difference between financial freedom and financial independence. There is a difference between assets and liabilities, and there's a difference between the terms investments and investing. Okay, so first of all, what is the difference between financial independence and financial freedom? Okay, so imagine that your lifestyle costs $1,000 every month. Now, if you had $120,000, then this would mean that you would be able to go for 10 years, and assuming nothing changes in your life for 10 years, then you've got enough to last you for 10 years. That's 10 years of $1,000 a month. That means that you are financially independent for 10 years. So type FI if that seems really cool. If you'd love to have $120,000 in the bank, or 10 years worth of savings in the bank, type FI if you'd like to have enough savings in the bank that you can go for 10 years. Okay, well, you know what? It's cool to be financially independent. But do you know what's even better than that? Financial freedom. Okay, type FF for financial freedom in the chat. Type FF now. Excellent, excellent. FF. More people, yeah, okay. Thanks, Admiro. Thanks, Janice. Thank you. And Victor, thank you. Guys, so financial freedom, this is about actually having investment income, passive income, that equals your outgoings. So here's the best thing about financial freedom. You see, if you have $1,000 worth of passive income coming in, and if your investment pool is always going up in value anyway, such that your $1,000 a month is becoming more and more and more, maybe it becomes 1,500, maybe it becomes 2,000, maybe it becomes $10,000 a month, then actually, could you imagine how much more freedom you have than if you just have some savings in the bank? Okay, type FF in the chat again if you understand that you want to be financially free, my friends. Okay, FF in the chat now, please. More FFs, more FFs. Yeah, you can duplicate the FFs. Because you want financial freedom, Janice, that's what for, okay? Okay, thank you, guys, thank you. Good engagement, guys. You see, this is the thing, the more that you engage, the more excited I can be, because you give me energy, and then I can be excited, and I give you energy, and then more of this sticks, okay? So the next difference is, what's the difference between assets and liabilities? Okay. Type in RK in the chat if you've ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki, or if you've ever heard of a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's been written by this man, Robert Kiyosaki. So type in RK in the chat if you know of Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki, he created, he's Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, his wife, they made people in our world cognizant of this fact, right? See, most people think that their house is an asset. So when you grow up and you follow what your parents say, and your parents say, oh yeah, you know what, you should buy a house And then when you become more successful, buy another house and put it up for rent and make passive income from the rent. Okay. And then you've got assets. Now, here's the thing. The house that you live in is actually creating a net loss because you're having to pay for a mortgage, most likely. You're paying for bills, and you know, pretty soon you're going to need a new lick of paint. You're going to need, it's going to depreciate in value, maybe, or maybe it'll go up in value. Who knows? We hope that it goes up in value. But the point is, you've got home improvements. Maybe you need a new kitchen, right? Maybe you need a new bathroom. So net, it's costing you money. Okay. So if it's costing you money, then it's creating negative cash flow in your life, then that's not an asset. That's actually a liability because it's creating a negative cash flow. Okay. Negative monthly cash flow equals liability. Okay. Contrast that with the house that you put up for rent. If the rent from the tenants is more than making up for the depreciation and the mortgage, the new kitchen, the new fitments, whatever, all that kind of stuff, as long as it's a net income rather than a net loss, then that house is an asset. Okay. So type in A in the chat if you prefer your house to be an asset, and an L in the chat if you prefer your house to be a liability. Okay. So type in A in the chat or an L in the chat. Exactly. We all want to have assets. Okay. And it's the same thing. Oh, Phil, you really don't want a liability, but maybe your house is a liability right now. Maybe you've learned something. Okay. So the next thing is, what's the difference between investment and investing? Okay. So this is quite easy. Basically, there are a number of investment tools. An investment is something that you put your money in and it grows in value, or even better, it produces some passive income. Okay. It produces positive cash flow. That would be the ideal situation. Okay. So there's many different types of investment tools. Here's some of them that are listed here. Okay. Bank deposits, real estate, precious metals and gems, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So investing is simply the process of buying investment tools. Okay. But here's the thing. When you come out of school, do you know how to buy stocks? Do you know how to buy real estate? Do you know how to buy precious gems? Okay, do you know how to trade Forex? Did they teach you any of this in school? Type a Y if yes, or an N if no. And do you know what? I'd be really surprised if you had a Y, if there were any Ys, right? Exactly, of course they didn't. They didn't teach you how to invest. So guess what we teach, okay? But here's the thing, there are reasons why you want to come into our school, because there's plenty of other people that teach this stuff as well. But you know, we've actually built a portfolio based on all the things that we teach. And although we don't sell you the shares in our portfolio, you can acquire shares in our portfolio by investing in your education with us. Okay, good or good. So investing, okay, here's some idea of what you can do with a $10,000 investment in 20 years. If you put it in something that is 12% a year or 1% per month over 12 months, then that will yield $110,000. Okay, 15%, almost $200,000. 24%, $1 million, just for $10,000. Okay, of a capital investment. Okay, so it's really, really amazing what can happen. The difference between investing and saving. Okay, Put an I in the chat if you'd rather know how to invest rather than save. Put an S in the chat if you're happy just to save and have $10,000 after 30 years. Put an I in the chat if you prefer to have $3.8 million after 30 years with the same 10,000. Okay? S or I? I, of course it's an I. Thank you. So that was rule 1, understand the terminology. Rule number 2 is follow the 5 commandments of the private investor. Okay, so in short, the first commandment is always pay yourself first, which is invest 10 to 30% of your income, or well, at least save it so that you can then put it into investments. Okay, control your expenses is number 2. Number 3 is protect your money. Number 4 is learn how to invest wisely. And number 5 is always learn to earn more. Okay? So looking at some of these. So commandment number 1 is really self-explanatory, okay, which is pay yourself first, save at least 10% of your income every month, and ideally invest it in something if it's enough. But if it's not enough, if you can only save $10 a month, that's fine. Eventually there are, you know, that will build up and you can start investing it in something. And actually, even in our company, you can start investing with a very, very little amount in your in stuff that's going to create a passive income, especially if you come into our VIP club, where you can actually buy some of our crew, the released crew. So if you wanted to, this is not financial advice again, remember. So the second rule, the second commandment is control your income and expenses. So it's not rocket science. If you want to create positive cash flow, remember we talked about cash flow earlier, right? Then you need to spend less than you earn, right? Type a Y in the chat if you understand that it's obvious that you need to spend less than you earn. You need a positive cash flow. Type a Y in the chat now, because you do understand that, okay? Thank you, thank you. Type a Y in the chat if you're learning something, okay? Type a Y in the chat if you think I'm just talking too much. Just type a Y in the chat, thank you. And thank you for the Ys that are coming in, by the way, thank you. So here's something you can do if you want. I actually did this. I spent a lot of my life with a spreadsheet kind of similar to this, where I was looking at what are the streams of income that I had. For me, I had a salary, I had rental income, and that was basically really it. And then I had all of the expenses, my monthly expenses. So I had my house, I had my bills, I had my travel, I had my credit cards, I had my loans, I had my food, I had any big purchases that I was expecting to make, okay? And I basically tracked it every month so that I always knew how much money I needed to have in my account in order to be able to make the outgoings, okay? So you can do this or something similar, and just it'll help you to manage your expenses, okay? And here's a really cool thing if you want a pro tip. Elena Pepina, who was the person whom I signed up to this community with, who is a success story in herself. Wow, what an amazing personality. Put an AP in the chat if you know Elena, and if you love Elena, because Elena is amazing. I'm going to put an AP in the chat, okay? Elena is amazing. She's such personality and just a really wonderful soul, okay? She is a wonderful soul. Elena, if you're watching this, you're all over this. It's amazing in this chat. Anyway, so she shared, look, you know when you've made it, when you're making more streams of income than you have streams of expense, okay? Because if you think about it, the poor person mindset is basically, oh my God, I've got to pay for the car. Oh my God, I've got to pay for that. Oh my God, I've got to pay for this. I've got to pay for that. I've got to pay for that. And all I have is just one tiny little salary in my job. Okay. But the rich person's mindset is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm making money from this. I'm making money from that. I'm making money from that. I'm making money from that. And the expenses, there's fewer streams of expenses than there are income. Okay. So that's where you want to be. Okay. Be inspired, guys. Put an I in the chat if you're inspired. Wow. Surely there are some eyes. Surely there are some eyes. I mean, I know I'm inspired by that. That's where I want to be. Thank you, Admar and Victor. Right. Okay. So rule 3 is have a financial plan. Financial plans are they can be short term, they can be medium term, and they can be long term. Okay. Your long term plan is basically your overall vision for where you want to be and how you want to retire. Okay. And maybe it even includes what it is that you want to pass on to your kids, the goal that you have for your next generation. Okay. Your midterm plans are effectively the milestones that are going to get you the big steps that you take towards your long-term vision. Okay. And your short-term plans are basically your goals that are going to help you to reach each milestone. Okay. So maybe a good midterm plan milestone is to become financially free within, you know, like 2 or 3 years or something. Maybe that's a good midterm plan. Okay. And then long-term plan is like, you know, to have a castle and, you know, with a helipad and to, you know, like be free, right? And to pass that on to my children, right? I know that mine is something like that. Okay. So a financial plan is a comprehensive evolution of an investor's current and future financial state by using currently known variables to predict future cash flows, asset values, and withdrawal plans. Okay. Basically, a financial plan is the specifics of how you're going to do it. Okay. It's the checklist, is the financial plan. Financial planning is the process of following your plan. Okay. It's really obvious. Okay. And also it's about managing whether you are actually gonna hit those check marks. Okay. Ongoing process. So why do you need a financial plan? Because you want to create passive income for yourself. Okay. You want to be able to know that you can educate your kids to the best level. You want to know that you can afford to live the lifestyle and to have the investment real estate that you want, and the car that you want, and the lifestyle that you want. And you want to be able to fund your own businesses. You don't want to, now don't get me wrong, there is good debt as well as bad debt, but really, ideally, you don't want to take debt. You want to be opening your own businesses. Okay. Put a Y in the chat if that makes sense. It makes sense to have your own money rather than to borrow money. Put a Y in the chat if that makes sense. You want your own money. Okay. Put a Y in the chat if that makes sense. You know, you want to be able to provide yourself with your own pension. Imagine that when you reach retirement age, you are fit and healthy anyway, because you've been living a financially free lifestyle anyway, just from passive income. And it's all it's done in life, in your lifetime, is just grow and grow and grow and grow. You've got so much money that you don't know what to do with it. Put a Y in the chat if that's exciting. I mean, come on, right? And then put a Y in the chat if actually, I mean, come on. How awesome would that be to pass that on to your children? Inheritance capital, right? Put a Y in the chat. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing, right? To pass on such business systems, passive income systems, right? So guys, you know where to go, the Academy of the Private Investor. Put a Y in the chat if this is useful, okay? So rule number 4 of the private investor is to diversify. Okay, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Know that just because something is going well right now, crypto may well have a massive boom fairly soon. But do you know what happens when it turns? And you might know that crypto can just like do that. Now, are we going to go to all-time highs very soon? Who knows? Maybe we will. Are you going to be able to sell when it hits all-time highs? Maybe you won't. Okay, maybe there are other better cryptos that you want to get hold of, hint hint, that pay a monthly passive income. Okay, hint hint. Okay, put a Y in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. I think you do. In fact, put a crew in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. CRU. Okay, man, I tell you what, we've got such plans for our crew. Like, no one is going to want to sell this when you truly understand the power of what we have and why it's better than most of the other cryptos that are out there, then trust me, you'll know that you don't want to let go of our crypto unit, especially if you've been in this company for, you know, a few years and you've seen how this company goes, and you've built that level of trust in Andre and in Andre's vision and just who he is, you know, because he's such a sweet guy. Does he make mistakes? Of course he does, right? You know, does he like make bad decisions sometimes? Yeah, of course he does, right? But one thing's for sure, his spirit, you know, his spirit is really it's really in the right place. Put an S for spirit in the chat if you understand the spiritual nature of life, and like, you know, if you understand like you are part of your part of the great spirit. You might call that God, you might call that Allah, but you know, you may feel it coursing through you. I know it's the reason why I love educating. Put an S in the chat if you understand that we're leading a spiritual existence here. Okay, put an S in the chat. Thank you, Fusi. Put an S in the chat. Everyone else as well. Surely more S's. Really, you don't feel that you're leading a spiritual existence? Everything in life is spiritual, guys. Everything. Yeah, thank you, Janice. Thank you. A capital S. That's what I like to see. Thank you. Remember, guys, the more energy you give me, then the more I know that I'm doing well, right? Unless you're not, you know, unless you just want to send a message that's like, hey, I'm bored. Well, in that case, I'll just be bored. Okay, and I'll just invest. I'll just present like this. And so rule number 5 is investment discipline. Come on, guys, put an S in the chat if you want me to be a little bit more spirited, right? I want more S's in the chat. Come on, more S's. Yes. Well, Fusi, I know that Fusi is here. Look, you know what, Fusi and Janice, because you're interacting, you know, I'm going to do this. This is for you, okay? So rule number 5, investment discipline, okay? Investment discipline, you got to stick to your plan. You made a plan, so you got to stick to your plan, okay? This is about managing your emotions, okay? Stick to the plan and don't be greedy, okay? Don't be greedy, follow the plan. And actually, rule number 6 obviously is don't be greedy. Don't be greedy because that will make you bankrupt. If you see all of a sudden, if you have a plan to get into Bitcoin now because it's after the halvening and you're gonna hold until it reaches a certain price target, maybe 100k, maybe 150k, right? Then when that happens, don't think, oh, you know what, maybe you'll go to 200, maybe you'll go to 400, maybe you'll go to 500, because that's you being greedy. And you know what, are you going to be able to sell it at those massive highs, right? So if you can't sell it, you might well find that you can't sell it, and then you might well just bankrupt yourself and it just falls back down again. Okay, so don't be greedy, because greediness leads to bankruptcy. Don't bet your whole house on Bitcoin. Greediness leads to bankruptcy. Okay, diversify. Remember rule number, I think it was rule number 4. Okay, the other thing also, actually, just to go back to that, it's also don't be too fearful. Okay, crypto, including our CryptoUnit, you don't know what's going to happen with that. So all of it is, there's a certain amount of risk. Okay, if you don't take a certain amount of risk because you have too much fear, so there's greed and there's fear. Okay, type an F in the chat just so you acknowledge that I'm talking about fear rather than greed. Okay, so put an F in the chat. Okay, because this is slightly different. Okay, thank you. So fear is about, if you are so unwilling to take even the smallest risk, okay, because no one that's going to advise you about investing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a qualified financial advisor, I can't give you advice, but you can tell that this makes sense. Okay, no one worth their salt in investing, who's going to give you advice about investing is going to say, oh, there's a tiny little bit of risk, don't do anything. Like, if you had, an investment pot, maybe you'll put 1%, 2% into things that are really, really high risk. And guess what? Crypto is a high risk thing, right? Now, some people have a greater risk appetite, but you know what? Take some action, right? You've got to take some action, but don't be greedy as well. So that's, don't be greedy, don't be fearful, don't be ruled by emotions. Okay. Rule number 7. Rule number 7 of the private investor is always, always, always be investing in yourself. Okay. If you remember, I said that I've been investing in my wealth creation education since 2017. Type a number in the chat to guess how much do you think that I have spent on courses that are specifically to do with wealth, or actually to do with personal development. Just put a guess in the chat. How much do you think I've spent so far in my life on courses that are outside of university? Okay, who guesses what? And I'll tell you if it's higher or lower. 10k, oh, definitely more than that. 80k, it is actually more than that. VC is closest, and it's more than that. So look, and don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to spend the amount that I've spent. Okay, because and it's not that and trust me, this is not about an addiction. It actually started with just $20. $20 bought me an audio course, an NLP audio course. It's more, Admira, I already said that. But don't worry about it. It's just know that it's more than that. Okay, so here's the thing. I know that I'm doing the right thing because the amount of shit that I've had in my life. Okay, because I know that I'm not getting a job ever again. I'm not interested. Okay, I know that I can get an 80k job as a contractor, as a data analyst if I wanted. I'm positioned that even in this environment, I'm the guy that's employable. Okay, I'm the one that would be able to get a job right now if I wanted, but I'm not into that, right? Because I stand for something different. I stand for financial freedom. Okay, I stand for preaching this word of financial freedom, because financial freedom is freedom. It's freedom to do what it is that you love. Okay, because you don't have to worry about your bills ever again. Okay, you can still make money. That's all right. And of course, I still want to make money and increase what I'm going to make. Okay, so look, all of that comes from self-development and education. And trust me, it is priceless. And here's the other thing. The reason I've spent so much money is because I have learned, I've met Robert Kiyosaki, I've met Kim Kiyosaki, I've got photos of me that can prove that, not in this presentation, but I can show you that if you want, okay? And I've met so many of these, I've been to so many of their courses, and one of the things that I've learned from Keith Cunningham, who is Robert Kiyosaki's rich dad, okay? One of the things that he said at a course that I went to last year is that billionaires, they schedule time to think. So they actually schedule time to think, to sit there and just read. Warren Buffett, some of you know who Warren Buffett is. He's like the one of the richest investors in the world. And he literally just spends his time reading and educating himself. Okay, now he might not be buying education courses, but he is educating himself on the markets. Okay, but trust me, they all do have mentors in something or other. Maybe not in investing, but maybe in fitness, or maybe they're educating themselves on the things that they don't know. Okay, so self-development is a key to success. Okay, so type a 7 in the chat, okay, to show that you respect education, the right sort of education that's going to make you rich. Okay, so type a 7 in the chat if you value like getting over your current mindset. Okay, because that starts, you know, and it's not, you know, it can start with NLP. It can start with just anything that is showing you how to free yourself from the idea of needing a job. Okay, so good. Thanks for the 7s, guys. Thank you. Rule number 8, the final rule of the private investor, is always multiply your investment profits. That's really complicated. It's actually, look, you know, it's basically compound, right? That's really what it is. It's compound your gains. Okay, so you started making, you know, you started creating more money from your investing education. Well, your 10% or your 30% or whatever has now become more and more and more. So keep reinvesting, keep reinvesting, keep reinvesting. And do you know what happens? Your golden egg becomes a golden chick, becomes a golden goose, becomes an old golden goose that's laid a bunch of golden eggs, that's become a grandma golden goose that's hatched eggs that have hatched their own golden geese that are now laying golden eggs and hatching more chicks. Okay, so this is what you want to do. This is how you build and grow investment wealth that is creating monthly, well, you know, passive income that is way in excess of your expenses. Okay, good or good? Type more 7s in the chat, right? Lucky 7s, right? Because you want to be lucky. Put 7s in the chat if you want to be lucky, and put 7s in the chat if you know that you're lucky for attending tonight and for hearing all of this. Okay, put 7s in the chat if you value the idea of getting rich education. Okay, thank you for the 7s, guys. Thank you. I hope you're all enjoying this on Facebook, by the way. Shout out to Facebook Live. So look, guys, these are the 8 wonders of the world in the world of finance, or rather the 8 rules of the private investor. I think this is the end of our presentation. Okay. Oh no, there's more. Okay, so compounding. Okay, oh, of course there's more. The difference between compounding and cumulative interest. Basically, compounding is where you've now got a passive income, and your 10% has got bigger and bigger and bigger, and so you're compounding that. You know what? I don't think I need to explain this. Cumulative interest is just you put your money in the bank and they just give you 10% on your capital. Okay, and it's really boring and it doesn't change your life. Put a B in the chat if you understand that putting your money in the bank is not going to change your life. Okay, put a B in the chat. Put a B in the chat if you're becoming aware how if you're becoming aware actually that they're going to start charging negative interest rate. If you've heard about that, put B in the chat if you've heard about that, the talk about that. I mean, man, that's like just crazy, isn't it? But anyway, that's cumulative interest. Compounding is what you want to do. Okay, here's the benefits of compounding. So let's consider that you are able to save $10 a month. Well, actually, let's just do the last two columns, okay? The last two columns? No, let's do these penultimate two columns, right? So let's say you are able to save 40% a month, sorry, 40 euros a month, the difference between 40 euros a month and 50 euros a month, okay? So if you were to save 40 euros a month at 8% per month, okay, your money will grow to $1 million by year 9. In fact, by year 9, you'll have $3 million, okay? But if you did 50 euros a month, then you will have $7 million by the end of year 10, okay? Which is amazing, okay? So that was that. But look, let's just talk about capitalization, okay? Well, actually, no, you know, let's go back, okay? So I want to explain this in a different way, okay? If you come to the course, the Master Profit course, okay, then you'll do this exercise. You won't have time to do it because trust me, it takes 2 days. I hand wrote these, okay? There's like 8 sheets of it, and I calculated over 30 years what would happen if you save and compound 100 euros a month at 1% per month, 2% per month, and 3% per month, okay? And the results are astounding, okay? Guess what happens after 30 years? Do you think after 30 years, at 1% a month, 2% a month, 3% per month, okay, of compounding 100 euros each month, after 30 years, do you, right, okay, which of course do you think is going to perform the best? 1%, 2%, or 3% per month, okay? Type a 1, a 2, or a 3 in the chat for whichever one you think will perform the best. 1, 2, or 3. It's a 3. Really obvious, right? Really obvious. Well done, Janice. I'd say, you know, it's not well done. It's just really obvious, isn't it? Okay, right. So here's the thing. Do you think if after 30 years, let's say you did 1%, okay, 100 euros a month, do you think that you would have $1 million after 30 years? Yes or no? Y for yes, N for no, right? At 1%, okay, do you think you would have $1 million? No. Oh, you think not? Okay, what amount do you think you would have? And other people, everyone else, please also take guesses. Even if you don't understand what I'm asking, just take guesses. How much do you think you would get if you saved 100 euros a month, or dollars, or whatever, at 1% per month after 30 years? How much do you think you would have? Just give me a ballpark figure. It doesn't have to be exact. Any ballpark figure. Do you think you'd have more than $10,000? I'm pretty certain you would. What do you think? Do you think you'd have more than $100,000? Do you think you'd have more than $1 million? 100 euros a month, this month, then next month, the next month, the next month, for 30 years. How much do you have? Come on, guys. Really? No guesses? Come on. 36,000? Oh, it's more than that. You know what? It's about 10 times as, that. It's about a third of a million. After 30 years, right? If you invest it at 1%. But look, do you know what the difference is? Guess how much you get if you do it at 3%. So if it's about a third of a million at 1%, what do you think it is for 3%? It's just 2% more, right? 100 euros a month. Every month it's growing by 3%. How much do you think it's going to be worth after 3 years? Just take a guess. It really, don't worry about getting it right. Just take a guess, okay? The more you interact, the more this will sink in, right? And the more it will drive you to actually do it. Just take a guess. Just give me a number. Give me a number. 2 million. 2 million. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Do you know what? It is so much more than that. It is so much more than that. It's actually 150 million. Okay. So the difference between 1% and 3%, let's just say it's 150 million. It's no competition. Okay. So if you can find something that is delivering you that extra 2% a month, and it does it for 30 years, the difference is absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Put a wow in the chat if you understand that. I don't know if you can read that, but look, I calculated it. I did it by hand. That's 340,000 at 1%, and that is 150 million at 3%. Okay. Yeah, it's a wow, right? It's a big freaking wow, right? Yeah, it's a wow wow. It's a wow wow. Guys, it should be a wow in capital letters, I think. Anyway, okay, so that's that. Right. Capitalization, okay. Guys, are you learning something? Put more wows in the chat if you're learning something, because I think that's a wow, okay. Don't be afraid to put wow twice, like Jacqueline, okay. Basics of capitalization, yeah, capital wow, exactly. So the term capitalization comes from the word capital, and therefore it would be useful to understand what the meaning of the word capital is. Capital is basically the equity of a company, okay? And economists basically use it to mean the accumulated wealth that someone has. The amount of capital that someone has is the amount of assets that they have, things that are going up in value. Actually, not the number of assets, but the number of investments that they have, okay? And what that's worth, the capital, how much they bought that for, okay? So this one's a lot easier than it looks. So imagine that you have $30 a month and you put it under the bed. So it's not doing anything, it's just under the bed, right? And you do that every month over 30 years, then you will have accumulated $10,800 under your pillow, okay? And that is quite a pillow. I'm sure you'll understand. But here's the thing, right? Instead of putting it under your pillow, what if you put it into something that's just doing 1% per month? 12 months in the year is 12% per year. Okay. So every 30 days, every month, you're putting it into something that's doing 12% a year, 1% a month. So actually, rather than $10,800, which you would have saved if you put it under the pillow or under the bed, you would actually have, by the end of 30 years, you'd have 105,000. That's almost 10 times as much. Okay. So put a 10x in the chat if you like the idea of having 10 times as much after 30 years. Okay. Put a 10x in the chat. So the, yeah, come on guys, you know the drill, put a 10x in the chat. Thank you, Fusi, thank you. Your interaction's been great, by the way. And Janice, also yours as well, really, really great interaction. But the other guys, you have been interacting, so thank you. Capitalization is basically the difference between the 105,000 that you would have made from the capital, from the investing, minus the actual real money, the capital investment, the real money, the principal. And so the difference is this $95,000. Okay, one minus the other, and we show this on another slide coming up. So for instance, right, you've got Alex and Bob. Okay, Alex with his cool mustache and afro. Okay, and Bob, who also has kind of like a square afro. Alex saves $200 over 30 years every month. Bob saves twice as much, but he only does it over 20 years. Okay, who do you think will succeed? Who do you think will do the best? Guys, put an A in the chat if you think Alex is going to do better than Bob. Put a B in the chat if you think Bob's going to do better. So A or B for Alex or Bob. Okay, just take a guess, just a quick guess. Who do you think? Half as much for 10 years longer, or twice as much for the short time? Do you know what? Yeah, you might think that twice as much but 10 years less is gonna work out better, but actually you probably already know. Well, yeah, exactly. I already said. You were too late, guys. Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Admire. Thank you, VC. But yeah, actually, it turns out that Alex does best. Okay. Number one, Alex actually does wind up with a greater investment anyway, at 281,000 contrasted with 227. But also, Alex, over his 30-year period, he's only put in $72,000. Whereas Bob, he's put in twice as much, but over a 20-year period, 10 years less. And actually, you know what? He's still put in more capital. So his capitalization is not, his fund is not worth as much anyway, plus his capitalization is not as good. Okay. And he's put in more of his hard-earned cash ultimately. So, you know, put whatever you want to say to express how surprising that is for you. Okay. But the capitalization, as I described, is basically the difference between the 281,000 and the 72,000. Okay. So, oh, this is the exercise that I showed you. So I won't cover that again. This is the 1%, 2%, 3%. So we did that already. So look, guys, I mean, guys, put a Y in the chat if you've learned something. Put a Y in the chat if you've learned something now while I take a swig of water, because I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded right now. Thank you. Great great energy, guys. Thank you. Look, if you have a vision board, you have a vision of the lifestyle that you want to lead. Maybe you want to live in a castle that's secluded, and you grow your own food, and you keep your own chickens and animals and livestock. And you have, like, you know, maybe your kids are learning how to do farming and how to look after themselves, and maybe you're teaching them how to look after the wealth that you've created, so that they can keep it going for themselves and for the grandchildren. And you started your own empire. Maybe you own many different properties around the world. Maybe some look like this. You've got a fleet of your own cars, like the luxury lifestyle cars. What are you going to do next in order to be able to achieve that? Okay. And start living this dream lifestyle within a few months. Okay. What are you going to do next? So if you were here at 7 p.m, you'll have watched our previous presentation, and if you come back on Thursday, you can watch it again. And yeah, come back on Tuesday and learn about the 8 rules again. Apply these rules to your life every day. And just, do you know what? If you want a homework, just share these rules with 5 people, okay? Talk to 5 people and say, look, I learned some really amazing stuff. If you found value in this, share it with 5 people, okay? Bring them along next time, okay? So we do this Tuesday and Thursday every week, 7 p.m. Okay, thank you, Janice. If you haven't signed up yet, maybe sign up. It's free. If you do it within the next couple of days, you get 300 free crew, which is awesome. Okay, go back to the person that has referred you and get their link. Sign up, it's free. Verify, do that quickly, and join the VIP club. That's $10 minimum, right? $10. And then you get 350 crew for free just for signing up. And then you can take action and purchase. Take whatever risk that you want to take, right? But, you know, we're not selling you crew, we're selling you education, okay? And you happen to get crew as a bonus. Keep learning about the financial world, maybe through our company, okay? Start creating your own passive income, maybe through our company. Just some hints. Guys, you know, become an active partner in our mission. Learn about our MLCI model. Do this on Thursday, by the way. So on Thursday, we talk about the thing. VC, thank you. That's really beautiful. That's really wonderful. See, this is the thing. You know, engagement is the thing that feeds us. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I've been talking all day, and I've just had calls and calls and calls. It's amazing. And I love, like, you know, giving energy to my team. You're going to learn about the career ladder and the marketing plan. And actually, you know what? Genuinely, we do have a system right now that you can start living your dream within 3 months, okay, if you do the work. And with data mining, honestly, I've got a couple of conversations going already with brand new contacts, and I've only had it going for a couple of days, you know? So you might want to get involved just because of that, okay? Even if you're using it for other business. But you know what? I've seen so many other multi-level type things, and the way that the rewards are structured in our company, everyone makes money. Like, even if you're not doing anything, you make money, okay? And of course, if you do something, you make more. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending tonight. Please come back and bring 5 people next time. Keep bringing people, and give yourselves a round of 8s for just making it this far, this long, okay? There's still a bunch of you left. We still have like 11 people online. So guys, type 8s in the chat for yourselves, okay? Jacqueline, you should put 8s in the chat for the audience. And Gail, if you're still here as well, 8s in the chat for the audience, you know? Guys, thank you so much for coming, and we will see you next time, okay? Come back on Thursday or Tuesday. Okay, bye for now. Thank you. And whoever's actually kind of like doing this thing, we're just gonna